Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video. I was waiting until the TWAB dropped this week with some fixes to last week's all-time terrible TWAB. I wrote today about how I don't think Bungie gets much credit for making obscenely bad decisions and then reverting them immediately. That is just sort of getting back to where we started. And well, we have seen this many times over the years. This particular instance was egregious in that there's so many obvious problems with the power grind, the gear grinds, the portal system that showing up and suggesting a bunch of nerfs mainly to change things seemed impossibly tone deaf. They have reverted a number of these, which I believe are about to be covered here. I haven't read this yet. This just launched, so we will just dive into it. Before we get started with our weekly round of news for Destiny 2, we'd like to take a moment to touch on feedback and conversation around the portal and its rewards. So is this not supposed to be part of the TWAB normally? Okay. Portal and progression updates. We initially outlined some goals on August 7th dedicated to improving progress, increasing Crucible and Fireteam op rewards, and addressing feedback around raid rewards. Last week, while we covered a handful of improvements to scoring and portal rewards, we also announced plans to tune some rewards down in solo and pinnacle ops, aka nerf. We call that a nerf. Based on player feedback, we're revising our approach to balancing progression as we believe our previous approach was too conservative and these nerfs would work against, they called them nerfs, work against our goals of improving progression. To be clear, we believe these changes were the wrong call. Then don't do them in the first place. Just talk to anyone who plays the game. Okay. We want all activities in the portal, solo or fireteam based, to feel rewarding. I was tweeting the other day about how you got to start balancing not just on like graphs and charts, but on feel, and everything feels bad. Not saying that that's why they're saying that, but that is at least something that I believe in. We want our activities to contribute understandable and meaningful progress to climb and power. As such, the following changes are being made immediately. Planned reductions to power earned for a given grade within solo ops have been reverted. Planned reductions to of engrams earned in Encore Star-Crossed Whisper have been reverted. The planned change for prime engrams to require decryption at the tower has been reverted. What do you mean these changes are being made immediately? They weren't even implemented. So you're just saying we're not doing these changes that we said we were going to do. Nothing is changing. They didn't patch that in. Okay, whatever. Buffs. Fireteam ops. When it comes to fireteam ops, we know we have work to do. Here's a list of buffs we're planning and some new changes that we're adding in response to your feedback. They increased time limits. They did this already. That's something. That's a start. Ash and Iron, the number of drops from Liminality, Inverted Spire, and Onslaught have been increased. I already talked about that. Activity timers rebalance for solo, pinnacle, and fire ops. Fireteam ops has a greater value for speed versus killing all enemies. I think they talked about that before. New, increased number of drops for many more activities in fireteam ops. Our team is still working on finalizing which activities we can buff up, and we will share more details after we finish validating this change. I mean, my suggestion last time was just straight up double drop everything in fireteam ops. The problem is that, all of these activities are not equivalent. My concern is that there's no real fix to get away from the efficiency problem here, where people are always going to calculate out the most efficient thing to run and do that thing, and then they're either going to buff something else or nerf something else, and then you're just going to go do that next thing. So I think they need to figure out a way to get people, incentivize people to do a much wider spread of missions. I think the bonus drop thing is like kind of almost there because, doing 4 drops instead of 1 drop is good. But right now it's just that those bonus drops don't help nearly enough. So maybe I think that there's something that could be done there. It does not seem like what's happening here, but, all this feedback was also so fast that they're not exactly, sharing their exact details here yet, which I'm not super surprised about. There's a second part here. New, removing unpopular mods like Grappler from Fireteam Ops matchmaking pool. This will still be selectable when customizing. Grappler is just ridiculous. If you have a grenade-based build, it just replaces your grenade with Grappler, and you cannot use your entire build at all. Again, one of those things you might know while playing the game if you've experienced that, but I guess not. I don't know what other unpopular mods there would be. I mean, there are unpopular mods, but they're not actually listing them here. Buffs, portal rewards. Plan changes are focused on increasing rewards and rewards quality. Chance of prime engram drop per completion reward. Activities with more base completion rewards, such as liminality and inverted spire, will provide more chances for primes engrams to drop. Okay, so I was confused about this before. I thought it was that any engram that dropped at the end, including bonus engrams, would now have a chance to be a prime. That's not true. It's just if an activity has like more than one reward, like now that they increased liminality and inverted spire to 2 and onslaught to 4, it's those completion rewards that have a chance to drop. So you would have double drop chance if you're doing inverted spire, as opposed to one pinnacle drop chance if you're doing a solo op. Of course, you can still do many, many more solo ops instead of inverted spire. So that does not really solve the problem, but I guess it's better than nothing. This does not seem like a way that will increase leveling all that much, but we have another section here. New, we are working on creating a more consistent power reward experience for the upper power climb. In Ash and Iron, this will be power 500 to 550. So this is another thing where they're like, we got to do something, and we're going to say we're doing something, but we don't know what we're doing yet. So that's happening. More buffs, exclamation point. In last week's TWID, we provided a ton of information about various changes and the data that drove them. Hidden within were several buffs, small and large, which we wanted to scoop out of that doc to more clearly highlight. So it's like, these are things we did that we don't think you're listening to. Desert Perpetual Raid, weekly challenges added, improved gear tier drops, gear attunement added. One of the biggest complaints I've seen about Desert Perpetual is that grinding for power there is not really a thing. It's not just that you want to get improved gear tiers. The improvements don't even seem really like the ticket, but one of the points is like you want to be able to grind power better than, say, running 20 solo ops for a power upgrade, which is not the case now. Portal, the time bonus earned will grant 5% the minimum score if you make the timer. Your account highest power will be used for reward score rather than equip power. That's good and should be standard. You will no longer need to wear your highest power gear while playing to get the highest score possible. That's good. Conquests are now replayable. This was like the most obvious change that I've ever seen that they were going to make. Absolutely insane. You would make one mission that's like the highest tier of challenge or whatever and make it playable once. Why would you think that's a thing to do? In the long run, we are going to be cautious about singular ops category or an activity becoming the go-to for power leveling. We want Destiny to be a game where you hop in with friends to level rather than declining an invite to spend time in a solo activity for the sake of progression. In this case, we understand that alternate experiences need to be brought up a bit more to help things feel good rather than pushing options down in the short term. And we don't want players who generally just want to play solo or pinnacle ops feeling like they're getting caught by a stray nerf. A stray nerf, that was like literally what you were pitching last week. Our current approach is to bring options up and make sure they feel good before we look at the problem children. Our current approach as in like 3 days ago. Our hope is to continue to iterate and improve the progression through power bands with these increases to Fireteam Ops, the portal, as well as combined with the improvements to Crucible we have made and the additional improvements to raid rewards coming in 9.10. Now onto your regularly scheduled TWID. So this is the emergency section where a lot of the things are like, we're doing something to make power better. We're going to do more Fireteam Ops stuff, but they just don't have specifics yet. Heavy metal's coming. This is the vehicle one. Oh, wait, no, did I skip things? No. This is heavy metal. You can get an emblem. There's a new sword. There's a new kinetic shotgun, which is, we'll see if these are worth it on their own. But there is another section down here. I haven't read it yet, but I knew it was here. This is talking about like class identity and what they believe, they should be emphasizing with different classes. There's been a lot of complaints about Warlock, being behind the other two. So we will go into this. Warlock is normally my main, but I've been doing pretty much Titan this time as my main because Warlock is not great at the moment. Okay. Warlock. Warlocks weaponize the mysteries of the universe to sustain themselves and devastate their foes. Wow, really going back to basics here. The Warlock is the arcane spellcaster of the group. What they lack in strength and speed, they make up for in knowledge and sorcery. They're the best at performing complex magic rituals that persist in the world. Warlock's universal class abilities give access to health recovery and ally empowerment. Warlock traits, battlefield control, arcane abilities, ally empowerment. Moving forward, we plan to do more to reinforce the Warlock identity. In the short term, we're working on enabling deeper build crafting and finding ways to give Warlocks more ability uptime. The empowering rift change coming in Ash and Iron is part of this. Longer term, we'd like to give Warlocks more mobile healing options and a passive benefit to match other classes. Mobile healing options are good because I don't like standing in one spot as a Warlock in my well all the time. Titans do bonus uncharged melee damage. Hunters have higher base movement speed. Here are some of the upcoming Warlock changes we're working on. General. The following Warlock turrets will now count as grenades for stats and perks. Ionic Sentry, Arc Soul, Hellion, Bleak Watcher, Child of the Old Gods. Okay, so that's interesting because most of these are spawn based on your Rift, not Bleak Watcher. So that you would think that's like a class ability upgrade, but now they're making it grenade, which I think is good. I am tired of buddies as terms of a Warlock build, but that's better than nothing. Empowering Rift class ability will generate neutral game ability energy over time. Kills while standing in Empowering Rift will now generate bonus ammo progress. 15% for special, 10% for heavy. Titan, disciplined and proud. Titans are capable of both aggressive assaults and stalwart defenses. The Titan is the knight of the group. What they lack in magical ability and range, they make up for in strength and sustainability. Is the light magic? I feel like everyone has the light, and that's magic for everybody. Okay. They're the tip of the spear, creating cover to establish the front line. The Titan is not a traditional melee or tank class, but they have universal access to mitigation and increased melee damage. It is kind of a traditional melee or tank class, but okay. Titan traits, aggressive assault, damage mitigation, artillery expert. Going forward, we'd like to get some more artillery expert flavor into the Titan's kit and give them more opportunities to flex their tactician muscles. In the short term, we're working on some updates to behemoth abilities. Longer term, we'd like to make updates to Ward of Dawn and the Sentinel subclass, among other things. Here are a couple of the upcoming Titan changes we're working on. Howl of the Storm, Stasis Aspect. We'll grant 2 melee charges, changed Stasis crystal spawn pattern, and added 4 more crystals. Bastion, Void Aspect, will have faster cooldown in PvP. Alright. Cool. Hunter, agile and daring. Hunters are quick on their feet and quicker on the draw. The Hunter is the rogue of the group. What they lack in brute force and sorcery, they make up for in precision and agility. They're battlefield provocateurs, slipping into the enemy ranks, leaving traps and causing chaos. They quickly find new angles to attack from, dividing the enemy's attention to make them more vulnerable. The Hunter's class abilities give them directional speed bursts and damage avoidance. When you're talking about class identity, I was hoping that they would make a better class item for Warlock. That's what I was really hoping for. Hunter traits, attack precision, infiltration, damage avoidance. Going forward, we'd like to give Hunters more abilities to help support their fire team. Okay, that's not what this said. In the short term, we're working on giving Gunslinger an update. Longer term, we'd like to address the feedback that Night Stalker relies too much on invisibility, among other things. Here are some of the Hunter changes we're working on. On Your Mark, Solar Aspect. Stacks of On Your Mark now give weapon stat instead of weapon handling and reload. Max of 40 weapon stat at 10 stacks. So that will, depending on where you are, either increase your damage or it will do a bunch of ammo generation stuff. That's, I kind of miss reload, but all right. Well, I guess you get more reload if your weapon stat goes up. Rescaled stat count to a max of 10 stacks. Precision hits now give 1 stack. Precision final blows now give 2 stacks. Precision final blows at 10 stacks now cure you instead of giving you radiant. They don't like radiant that much. Golden Gun, Deadshot, Solar Super now refunds ammo on Golden Gun final blows instead of on ignition. Now extends super duration on Golden Gun final blows. Duration gain diminishes with final blows, grants less increasable. Marksman's Dodge class ability now reloads all weapons on activation. Now picks up nearby ammo bricks on activation. That's pretty good. Is this not like an exotic ability on like a couple of things here? So that's probably going to need a buff. Class identity wrap up. We love all of Destiny's classes equally. Insert the Arrested Development meme. I don't care for Warlocks. And we're dedicated to making sure that each has a chance to shine. We don't want any of our classes to be viewed as the DPS class. All 3 classes should be capable of roughly the same damage output. That said, there will always be certain builds that are more effective than others in different contexts. We'll continue to balance subclass builds to ensure we don't have any clear win buttons and ensure that each class feels powerful. In the future, we're interested in doing more to make each class's identities more distinct, potentially through stronger passive effects for each class. I think that's kind of a good idea. The increased melee damage, mobility, whatever, is pretty good. Did they actually say if they were giving Warlock something like that? Is there something with Warlock like that? I'm not even sure at this point. Didn't Warlock have longer melee range or something, and then they nerfed that? Okay. In the future, we're doing that. However, this adds more complexity to an already complex game, and the player experience comes first. We truly appreciate the feedback you've given on the classes, and we ask for you to continue feedback whenever you have it. I feel like a lot of the feedback with Warlocks was not we don't relying on buddy builds too much, and we want more buffs to grenade builds. I don't know if making buddies grenades is really what people were talking about here. So that seems somewhat odd to me in terms of the change they're making. Hopefully it's more than that, but again, this feels like kind of getting the wrong message. Arts, PAX West, Creator Lore, Destiny Rising launch. I'm playing Destiny Rising right now. I literally paused it to make this video. I don't know how Bungie feels about Destiny Rising. This is literally the launch of the only new Destiny game since Destiny 2, and it's like, here you get an emblem. As of now, that's the only crossover, and this is the only thing that they're saying about it. It's going to be a complicated relationship between these two. I think D2 Rising D Rising. That sounds weird. Has the ability to take at least some players away from Destiny for some amount of time. I'm going to be playing for a while until I guess I max out on content to do right now. But yeah, we'll talk about that more tomorrow or next week or something. I just started playing it like an hour ago. Yeah, so that's it. This is pretty rushed. It's like they reverted some of the most obvious, very bad decisions. And we already heard about that. And then this is like, we're going to do more stuff to Fireteam Ops, and power gain is going to be better in the bad part. And that's like kind of it. And then it's like, here, we did these things, like pay attention. So I don't know. I was hoping for a little more concrete stuff than that. The class identity part is interesting, but these seem, I don't know, these seem like pretty normal buffs. It's not like, oh, we're so leaning hard into the class stuff and whatever. These just seem like kind of normal buffs and whatever to me. So yeah. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. And I don't know, let's say Monday I'll do a Destiny Rising thing. Tomorrow is This Week at Tassie. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.